Hi friends, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. I hope you're ready for this because I don't know if I am. We are about to do an absolutely absurd book haul. I'm pretty sure this is my biggest book haul to date since starting the channel, and this can be blamed on traveling, I guess. Like, I was on vacation, I can't be held responsible for what I do when I'm on vacation and when I give myself the green light to basically buy as many books as I can fit in my suitcase on the way home from the UK. Not to mention that Ben bought me some lovely birthday presents as books as well. And I also, since we've been back in Canada, may have bought a couple of used books too. So, I've been a little out of control. It's fine. It's not a problem. It might be a problem, but it's fine. So here's the deal. I have 27 books to talk to you about, so what I'm gonna try and do is tell you, the title, obviously, tell you where I got it, if I can remember, because I'm terrible at things like that, and I'm also gonna try and tell you a little bit about it. So, you know, all the standard stuff, but I'm gonna try and do it, in a sort of quick, not mind-numbing way, so that this video isn't 40 minutes long. So first up, we have a novella that I discussed in my August wrap-up because it was a really easy read to fit in at the end of the month, and that is The Guest Cat by Takashi Haride. And this is a novella that I got at Waterstones in London, and this is about a Japanese couple that lives outside of Tokyo, and they are kind of living solitary lives absorbed in their work, and they start having this cat visit them from their next door neighbors, and they start to kind of fall in love with this cat, and it brings some light back into their lives. This is also a translated work, and the Japanese famous for loving their books about cats. Next up, we have Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, which I picked up in a charity, no, not a charity shop, just like a independent used bookstore in York. And this is, honestly, I don't even really know what it's about. I just like Neil Gaiman already. I'm pretty sure this is about a man or a boy who lives in London and then is somehow propelled into this shadow London called Neverwhere. And that's pretty much all I know about it, but it's Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's my man, so we're reading more Neil Gaiman. Next up, we have a book that I have been eyeing for a while, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, and I honestly don't even... Oh, The Works. There's a very helpful sticker on here that tells me that I got this at The Works. And this was in Redcar, which is where Ben's parents live. We went charity shopping there. And this, honestly, I've wanted to read it for a long time. I haven't ever picked it up because of how expensive it is in Canada. So when I saw it for £3, I was like, yeah, okay, we're getting that. And The Vanishing Half is about a set of identical twins who grow up together, but in their adult lives, one of them decides to live a life that is white passing, whereas the other basically, I think, embraces their mixed race roots and basically lives life as a black woman. One of them lives as a black woman and one of them lives as a white woman, and it's an exploration of that. And I don't really know much more about it than that, but it sounds really good. Next up, we have, to speed things up a little bit, 3 books that I can go through at the same time. So that is the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. So we have Fool's Errand, The Golden Fool, and Fool's Fate. Probably not doing a very good job of holding these up. This is back to Fitz. And this is the next installment in Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings after finishing Live Ship earlier this year, and I can't say enough about how excited I am to continue with Robin Hobb. I don't even really know what these are about, because the thing about these editions of these books is that if you read the back, they spoil things. So I don't do that anymore. I don't read the back. I have faith in her, and that's it. I'm really, really looking forward to starting this later this year, near the end of the year. Oh, I also got those at a Waterstones in London. And another book that I got at Waterstones in London is The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean, or maybe Sunyi Dean. And The Book Eaters is about a family with 2 kids in the Scottish Highlands, I believe, or England and Scotland have 6 old book eater families, And so these families are like people who literally eat and consume books because they get knowledge from them when they do it. And I think that the idea behind this is that someone gets a taste for human flesh, thinking that if they can consume books for knowledge, maybe they can also consume people for knowledge. So that honestly sounds pretty interesting and creepy, and I'm really looking forward to it. And that is also like a Waterstones special edition, and I really, really loved that hardcover of it, so I picked that up. Next up, and these are honestly at this point coming in a pretty random order, we have The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, just to keep you on your toes a little bit. Just to keep you not expecting what I'm gonna pick up next. No, but honestly, this was from a used bookstore in Canada, and I just want to read it. I don't know, I took evolutionary biology to an extent in my undergrad degree, and I've always really, really enjoyed evolutionary biology. It is just one of those things where you got a little tidbit of it in your first and second year classes. And this is apparently very readable, so I'm I don't know when I'm gonna read it, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. Charles Darwin is obviously iconic in terms of evolutionary bio, and yeah, I think that this will be cool. Next up, I want to talk about a couple of indie/self-pub books that were so kindly sent to me by the authors or author adjacent. So the first one is Second Star to the Right by Sarah Baran, Sarah Baran, perhaps. And so Sarah's husband sent me this really nice message asking if I would be interested in reviewing stories that are retellings of fairy tales. And so I thought that this sounded really cool. This is also really, really small. I think that this would be really easy for me to fit in somewhere. And so I would happily review a book like this. So that was very, very nice of them to send this to me. And then the next one up is The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham, and I got a very nice message from Mr. Witham himself asking if it would be okay if he sent me a copy of this, and I have heard a few people recently talk about how this is a favorite book of the year for them, and this is an adventure story as far as I know, and I think that it'll be really, really engaging and cool, and hearing people say that it is one of their favorites of the year really, really makes me look forward to this. So I am so grateful that the author was willing to send me this as well. Next up is a book that I simply pre-ordered for myself from Indigo because it was a release that I was really looking forward to, along with everyone else in the world, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. And this, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about and seen a bunch of reviews for, because this also came out on August 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. And so I really, really want to read this in September and hopefully review it and hopefully really enjoy it, because this is about historical fantasy about a character who wants to go to, I think it's the University of Oxford and their translation department and the tower known as Babel, and it's a study on linguistics and translation and how Britain has power because they have control over this method of translation, and it sounds really, really cool. Next up, we have a book that I actually already own a copy of because it was so kindly gifted to me last year in the indie pub form, and that is The Atlas 6 by Olive E. Blake, and this was in a used bookstore for only $6, and a new hardcover in this country is $35. So even though I already own a copy of this, I couldn't say no to buying this honestly pristine hardcover. There's nothing wrong with this. Someone clearly just didn't want it. And that is someone else's trash is my treasure. So wonderful. Then we have a book that is from my cousin. She said that she was finished with it and wanted to give it a good home after she was finished with it. And so that is The Troop by Nick Cutter, and this is a book that I have heard, I think only Murphy Napier obviously talk about. I don't know if I've seen anybody else having read it, I don't recall, but this is about like a kind of Boy Scout leader who every year takes boys into the Canadian wilderness as basically like a trip, a camping trip, and this year they encounter this very, very creepy, like, I don't know if it's a worm or if it's like a biological warfare weapon, but it basically consumes you from the inside out, and if it gets inside of you, you will be so ravenous that like you won't stop eating until you basically are ready to eat the people around you. And it kind of, their group encounters it, and it's out in the wilderness, and it's very creepy. It's probably very much body horror, so I hope I'm okay with it, but this is a book I've been interested in for a while. So when my cousin had it, I said that I would take it because I was really, really excited about it. Okay guys, we're like halfway there. Here's one that I don't have much to say about. House of Chains by Steven Erikson, the fourth book in Malazan Book of the Fallen, a series which I have not started yet. So therefore, I really don't have too much to say about this, but I now own the first 4 books. Next up, we have King Lear by Shakespeare, and I really need to get around to reading more of my Shakespeare plays, but I am kind of curating a mismatched, fun collection of like the editions of Shakespeare plays that I just find in used bookstores. Next up, in a Little Black Penguin's classics, we have The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and this is a short story about a woman who is locked in a room with yellow wallpaper and her descent into madness, maybe. I don't know. I know a lot and yet so little about this story because it is so short, but it is very famous and I'm really looking forward to it. Next up, also from a used bookstore in Canada, we have Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, and this, as far as I understand, like, basically all I know about it is that it's about a black woman in the 30s trying to set out and make her own life for herself and the challenges that come with that. And I've just heard really, really amazing things about this, and it's something that I've had my eye on for a while, so when I saw it in the used bookstore, I snatched it up. Next up, from an independent bookstore in London, we have Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This is also translated work, and we had a hell of a time finding this because all the Waterstones in London were sold out of this book, and we were lucky that I found it in an independent bookstore. But this, I talked about this in my September TBR, but this is a genre-defying collection of short stories that blurs the lines between magical realism, horror, and science fiction, and it addresses the very real horrors and cruelties of patriarchy and capitalism in modern society. So I am really looking forward to this. This is a collection of short stories, of course, and look at that cover. Tell me that you don't want to read that based on the cover. Next up, we have a little bit of a funny story with these books, and that is The Bone Ships and The Call of the Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. And the reason this is funny is because Ben actually got me these for my birthday, but he got me Call of the Bone Ships, which is the second one. So I opened it and I was kind of like, thanks, but like I haven't read or owned the first one. Like, was this on purpose? And so basically the moral of the story is that he meant to buy me this one, the first book, but didn't. So now I have both. We went to, actually, where did we get the Bone Ships? I believe we got this at an independent bookstore in Whitby, like Whitby, UK, because I have a Whitby in Canada right beside me. But yeah, I'm really excited, and now I suddenly have like the first 2 books in this series. I think it's a trilogy. Oh yeah, it's literally called the Tide Child Trilogy. So I'm looking forward to these. And then another thing that I got from Ben for my birthday is The Coward by Stephen Aryan. And the funny thing about this is that I bought myself The Coward from Book Outlet, but Ben got me a signed edition from Broken Binding. So of course, we're gonna swap. I'm going to keep this lovely, lovely gift that he got me, the signed edition that is like objectively nicer than Book Outlet, and he is going to have my Book Outlet version of it so that we can both have the book and hopefully we both really enjoy it. So yeah, Steve and Arian actually did comment on my video where I hauled this the previous time, and I'm still really excited about that, and now I'm really excited that I have a signed copy of it. Next up, we have a very different vibe of a book, and that is Chernobyl Prayer by Svetlana Alexievich. And this was previously published called Voices from Chernobyl, or Voices of Chernobyl, and I think that the basic premise of this novel, or not even novel, but just book, is that she collected the accounts of people from around Chernobyl and collected them into a book. And so, based on the fact that I work at a nuclear plant, I mean, that's not my only interest in Chernobyl. I think it's a very interesting event, even though it is catastrophic. But based on the fact that I work at a nuclear plant, I think this will be very interesting reading for me. Next up, from an independent bookstore in Saltburn. Yes, Saltburn. We have Panenka by Ronan Hessian, and this is a book that Ben has read and loved recently. And this is basically about a man named Panenka, or nicknamed Panenka, and basically picking this up based on Ben's recommendation, and I'm really, really looking forward to it because of how he talks about it and describes it. We're almost at the end now, and we have two books that I am very excited to have in my possession, and those are these beautiful broken binding hardcovers of Blood and Fire and Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill. And I don't know how well you can see it, but these are also signed. This one's done in black ink, so it's a little bit less visible, but they are both absolutely gorgeous hardcovers, and then there's some art that goes along with it. And there was also a map, and it's over on the other side of my room, and I'm surrounded by books, so I can't actually go get it. But that was just an absolutely wonderful and gorgeous gift from Ben, and so I love them, and I'm really, really excited to get to Of Darkness and Light, and I appreciate it so much. That was absolutely awesome. I am suddenly in possession of 3 beautiful signed copies of books. And then we're really in the home stretch now, only 2 more books. So the first one is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid, Kylie Reid, sorry. The way that it's cut off on the spine sometimes makes me think it says Riley Reid, but it's not. This I got from a charity shop in Redcar, once again, and this is basically the story of I think it's a black babysitter babysitting a white child, and when the babysitter is out with the kid, somebody thinks that she has like kidnapped the child. And so I think that what ensues is like tough situations, tough conversations, and just an exploration of like our assumptions and our inherent biases, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the way that all of that is explored in here. And then finally we have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and this is an author that I have yet to actually read from, but I now own The Only Good Indians and My Heart is a Chainsaw, and this I got from an Oxfam in York, and this was a really, really great find because this is another one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and when I found it used, I was really excited to pick it up. And so this is definitely like horror. This is about 4 men, or 4 people anyway, who hunt elk, and now a decade after they have been on this like hunting trip, they're being stalked and hunted, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing like what this is actually about, whether it's like supernatural or whether it's just mundane, or not mundane, but like human. I've heard really, really great things about Stephen Graham Jones, and I am greatly looking forward to reading one of his books. So, holy crap, that is it for the list of books. So, thank you if you're still here. Let me know what you think I should read from here. Let me know what you've read and what you've loved and etc. Like if you have a recommendation that you think I need to read right now from out of these, please let me know. So I really hope that you liked this video. Please like if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. I post new videos every Monday and Thursday. I'll have my Discord, socials, and Patreon linked in the description as always if you're interested in any of that stuff. And with that said, that is it for this one. I'll see you in the next one, and I hope that you'll have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!